Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman.
And welcome everyone. Hello, I am so excited to have you here for our inaugural episode of Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. As you might know, we aired for many years on Blog Talk Radio, featuring top conscious rock and leaders like Sonia Choquette, Gary Renard, Dr. Sue Morter, Mary Morrissey, and many more. Things went on hold for a while with the show, but we're back and better than ever and relaunching today. And we've expanded the platform so you could find us in more and more mediums like YouTube, Facebook, Stitcher, you name it. Okay, we're going to find us across the internet. You're going to experience cutting edge wisdom from conscious thought leaders and truth tellers, as always, and especially now ones that are totally on fire and waking up the planet in a big way. So get ready for more dynamic interviews than ever before and transformational experiences that are going to rock your life and business to the next level. Today, we are relaunching the show with a really amazing conscious leader, Paula D'Andrea, and she'll be talking about how to scale your mind, your body, your business. Wow, now that is a cutting edge concept. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about her before we go much further. Paula D'Andrea is an expert on how to overcome stress, limitation, and burnout using intuitive, accelerated techniques for rapid results. She provides high-level consulting and mentoring for influential executives, entrepreneurs, and creatives so they will manifest the visibility, impact, and financial abundance they aspire to and deserve. Within the past 15 years, Paul has successfully scaled 2 six-figure businesses in both the fitness and coaching industries. Guided by spirit and intuition, she speaks and presents globally on how to focus mind and body to scale your life and business with the most energy, focus, momentum possible. Yes, her expertise has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes.com, KNBC, KTLA, and Telemundo, and much more. I'm sure she is a contributing author to 2 Amazon international bestsellers. Paula is working on her new show Quest for a syndicated series, Rock Your Life TV. Oh my God, I'm excited for that. She airs on Roku, Kindle Fire, iTunes, and the Blueberry channel, and Samsung. So Paula, it's so good to have you here today.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm excited to be here, and congratulations on relaunching. It's totally awesome. I'm so honored to be here on your first, new episode and format. So yeah, I'm ready to rock with you for sure. I think we speak the same lingo.
Absolutely. And so, it's good to be back, baby. That's what I want to say. I have so much joy to be with amazing people. So let's just dive right into it. I mean, everybody talks about scale your business, and how are you going to scale that business? Let's talk about scaling the business, the numbers, the structures, the this, the that. And you're saying, wait a minute, scale your mind, body, and your business. So there's something more fundamental we need to take a look at here. So it points to that there are actually a lot of mistakes people are making and how they approach it from what I hear in it. So tell us, how are most people messing this up, this idea of, boy, you got to go big now, really scale that business. Tell me about that.
Well, I think that, it's great that people have high aspirations for what they're doing. And I think that's phenomenal. That's always, you want to, think big, have a vision for your company and so forth. And people go gung-ho into it. They, full out in investing in marketing and branding and all of these type of things. But the one area that they failed to invest in at the beginning is themselves. And I've seen it time and time again where what happens is that they have the marketing and branding in place, yet they're not, let's say, on an even playing field with the broadness of that. And it could be something that their sales skills might be a little bit off, their confidence gets shaken. Let's face it, that, as I say, entrepreneurship is probably like the best personal development tool out there, right? And many of your buttons get pushed. So there is a lot that goes into the personal development side of it too. You can't wait for those buttons to get pushed. And what will happen is that you'll have smooth scaling by paying attention and also integrating that aspect, the mind and body, into the fold. So that's where I see the greatest successes for even different level executives, entrepreneurs, creatives, even people that are a little bit higher top. They experience something that kind of rocks their world a little bit, and you just have to go back to basics.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I see a lot of with people scaling, like in the industry that I'm most familiar with, which is coaching, healing, transformational coaching, business coaches, etc., is typically what I see. Of course, people on the outside don't always know about it, but they're dealing with such an inordinate amount of stress. They're falling apart, and they're putting on a show out here, kind of, right? But at the same time, they're falling apart while they're going to 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever it is, the figures, but they're crumbling inside. And I see that probably more so than not. And I wonder if you could share some insight about that, what you've seen, because I know you've worked with some of these people, what you could share about what's happening for those people in those situations.
Sure. It's and that's a really good point, is that stress has been my area for many, many years. First with the body mostly, with on a fitness level, and then and then really with the mindset going into business. But the thing underneath both is really what you're holding in your body. So a lot of energy that just for me, stress is in a way, it's energy that has no direction, and it is going to stay contained. And as you learn ways to release it, and release what's attached to it, which is most important, is into that. And of course, there's stress that is really good for you. And if you're the type of person, I am working with people who are going for a higher level. Just in the last 24 hours, I've been in contact with a couple of my clients. One is scaling in entertainment. The other is scaling in a huge brand of retail. So they're not just the whole picture of everything that it takes for production, whether it be in a factory or a set. It's there's that outlay, and then how it's affecting them on a personal level. So I always say, next layer to go next level. And there is something inside that is ready to come up, and a new version of them has to be ready to step into that business, into the bigger vision. And it is very much a mental game, but it's also what I've found is that in working with people on that, and everybody says, mental blocks and this type of thing, they're emotional blocks. And then, there are things that your body is holding on to. Besides a lot of wisdom, it's also hanging on to other references of things that you've experienced in the past. So it's not always just a conflict of the mind. Then there's conflict in the body. And then I think that's the most frustrating thing for people, especially clients that I work with. They've done a lot of personal development. I'm not the first stop. They have to be at that level,
right.
Especially to work in an accelerated method and to keep doing what they're doing. If you want to scale big, you're talking, 7s, 8s, 9s, you got to be, top of your game. So it's not like, but even someone who is going for 6 figures, it's all there too. So what happens is that mentally they're like, okay, I've dealt with this. I worked with a therapist, a coach, whatever, I'm good to go. And then all of a sudden it comes back. And they're like, it's a WTF moment for sure, along with, some other choice words. And it blindsides them. They think that they're on track, and then all of a sudden it's like, bam, it's like, getting out for that wave, and it's a tidal wave comes and knocks you off your you're bored, same exact thing. And so it's they lose their ground, and that's what it is. It's that feeling of, you know, not being grounded, along with the stress and overwhelm that's coming from that situation. And what it is really that I found is that there's actually the conflict is between the mind and the body. So you may get one and think you're set, and without both, it isn't the complete package.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, the way I'm hearing it, just listening to you talk, is that, you know, what's happening is they're getting all this feedback from their body, but they haven't been taught to really understand how to tune into that or listen to that wisdom and guidance that's showing up as like, I'm freaking out, when it's really like has a solution, right? So we know that the body is giving us freak out signals, because until we hear what it's trying to tell us, then it just seems like we're falling apart and we have issues. But we actually hear what the body had to say, and we can take care of it. And that yet through personal development, it tends, in my experience, to focus more on the mental aspect, right?
So, for sure. Most people,
right, just dial it in your head. And
yeah, exactly. Go meditate. And so, which is good, because the aspect of that it addresses is the breathing. And so that does get into the body, and breathing is a really big one. Eye movement is another thing. You know, all of these type of things that you tap into, you know, I do. So I carried over from my fitness career into conscious anatomy to then become medical intuitive. That, you know, every system in your body has something, you know, function that they're performing, that they're doing for you. And again, you know, when something's out of whack, something may try to jump in and take over. And, you know, you've got all these things happening, but a lot of people are just, you know, just not cognizant of it. And so it's just a matter of getting into that and getting people, you know, changing their energy state, being conscious of their breathing, being conscious of their posture, actually taking a dive in to see what, you know, where energy could be trapped. You know, then there's also, you know, adding into that, doing hypnotherapy to be able to just relax the mind and the body. That's all that it is. I know that many people think it's, you know, like these crazy stage shows and things like that, but really the goal of hypnotherapy is to relax your mind and body. Right. And it's one of the first offerings that I give to people, because that's what's most important. And you may have to keep on doing it for a while in order to get to retrain yourself. Another tool that I use is in NLP, and one of our presuppositions is that anything that you've learned, you can unlearn. So, you know, training your body to relax, right, is you're unlearning all of the stress and the, you know, that fight flight type of thing. And, you know, it gets very real when someone, you know, gets hit with adrenal fatigue. It's no joke. I had one of my clients is exactly what happened to him. He's now scaled, you know, a couple of different, you know, big businesses, is on his way to take his present business way up, has been an Entrepreneur magazine, all of these things. And, you know, he just like, his desk was just, you know, stacked to here, you know, probably up here somewhere. And he knew what he needed to do. He just couldn't function to get it done. And that is a very real thing. It happens over and over again. And people just, you know, they'll stare at that list on their whiteboard or their calendar or whatever. And it's just, you know, again, another mind, you know, WTF moment where you're like, what's going on? It's almost like somebody is possessed, you know, like it's like I'm here, but I can't function, you know? And it's a reality for a lot of people who are at a higher level.
Yeah. I mean, the people I've worked with at higher levels, I have experienced that. It actually has really shocked me sometimes how panicked and like they're having panic attacks. And I mean, it shouldn't shock me, but I'm just saying it was kind of interesting. I'm like, whoa.
It's an eye opener. It's an eye opener.
Sure. All kinds of things going on. Yeah, it's like these. And the scarcity mindset is through the roof, and I'm going to lose everything, and it's never going to work, and how am I going to get here? And like all this stuff, like some people think like just because someone's successful, they come to a part of, all that stuff's gone probably. No, like it's
And I'll share something with you too on that, and because I want to mention it. You know, just when you were saying that, just to bring up, because I know, you know, you have different people viewing, and they're at different levels. So
Yes, yes.
when I was, you know, in my transition, getting out of fitness and doing this was something different. And I would see, I mean, I was at a lot of events. I met a lot of high powered people. I was in the green rooms. I'm behind the scenes, all of that kind of thing. And I'm seeing them fall apart. And then when, you know, like, you know, a few years ago, the online marketing totally changed, you know, and you see these people doing something different. And you're like, you know, I was like, you know, what the F, because they're crumbling a little bit. And I'm like, what chance do I have? So that was a bit of a stumbler for me for a little bit. So it encouraged people who are scaling up, you know, even, you know, high fives, low sixes, wherever you're going to next, is get it together. Keep yourself on an even keel. Find the things that keep you grounded so that you can just keep on building. And what happens is that as you come into yourself that way, then it is you're expanding, you know. And you're bringing your energy out in a different way, and that's where it's at. That's the key to, one of the keys to you scaling is being in that position and allowing yourself that moment. We'd be foolish if we didn't, like, you know, something came up as it did for, you know, one of my clients earlier today, and just blew. And it's like, you should blow, because it was something to get really PO'd about, and let that energy out. Rather than, you know, people are saying, you know, the Zen approach, will just, you know, do, you know, and meditate. No, like, freaking let it blow. Get that energy, the heck out of your body. Then you can have the Zen moment, which is what we did earlier. You know, I had the whole explosion, and then it was like, okay, let's have a chat about it. Where, you know, where are you at? And just, and then looking at it different way, because in each one, when that comes, it's like, what does it tell you about you? If you got that pushed, if you got that triggered, what is it? What's underneath? What's the push? Good thing to know, right? And then from the whole situation, what are some of the lessons that you can take forward now? And right after that, a phone call came in, and 3 of the things were like, that was the agenda right then and there. You know, ask this, ask that, ask, you know, and that's it. And it's that quick and that systematic. So when talking about accelerated results, it is about very quickly being able to take a look at it, do the process. And again, when you're like this, which you are in the beginning stages of your business for most people, unless you've got a ton of money, you know, and just not really thinking about that way, you know, it is a bit overwhelming, and you're not even thinking clearly at that point. But as you get to, you know, your higher levels, you just have to take stock of yourself. You know, I developed this inner GPS to be able to say, stand an empowered no or an enthusiastic yes.
Right.
Always,
hell no or hell yes is how I look at it. It's a hell no or hell yes.
Exactly. And it has to be like that automatic for people too, you know, to kind of be able to gauge that. Or if you just need time to defer, just time out, you know, and give yourself the time that you need to do whatever you need to do. Don't feel pushed to give a response. And I think that kind of happens on the more at the beginning levels, is that you're looking for opportunities, right? So people are wanting to say yes to everything and not really, you know, weighing it in. And then as you do start to scale, your objectives have changed, you've changed, your perception has changed, your vision has changed, all these type of things, regardless of what your business, and doing that, and the opportunities are different. And then also, as you get out of that grunt work and say, hey, you got to do what you got to do to get from here to here. You got to do what you got to do to get from here, you know, here to here. You got to do what you got to do. And then it's like, you know, okay, I'm here. What do I really want to do? And, you know, be able to like really hit that square up and say, okay, these are the type of people that I want to do business with. You know, are they a spiritual rock star? You know,
yeah, I mean, my question in that would be, well, if you need to get from here to here and what you got to do, but also is to look from another end, which I'm always looking at, how can it like be so easy, like fall on a bed easy to go from here to there, knowing there may be all this stuff, there may be challenges and all this stuff. Of course, it's all wrapped in to the journey often. It doesn't have to be all the time though. So how can we joyously and gracefully move from one end to the other? So I guess that's what I'm asking. What does it really take to, that's something I'm always interested in. So I'd love to take your take from it. What are
Mhm.
some of the things that you particularly see that help people to do it with greater like magic and ease and all that sort of stuff? I mean, we all familiar with elbow grease and all that, but like,
Yeah,
what are
sure.
the things that people can do to really scale their business in a way where they're more the, and I talk about being in your enlightened center, your deeper enlightened center. Yeah, of course, the explosions like rah, like that can bring you into your center fast is what's cool about
Right,
that.
right. Yeah,
So
exactly.
all of it's good, but yeah, I'd love to hear some more about that.
Yeah, that's a really great question, Daniel. Is that and what it really takes is to be more of you. It really is getting to that those layers of being knowing what you want to. For me, I don't focus on what you want. What the questions that I like to ask are, what would you like to give yourself? And because that's bringing something to you, I feel. And then also, what are you ready to welcome? And that sometimes is, that's kind of like the SMART goal, of being realistic in what really is within your reach. I mean, again, really great to shoot for the moon, but if that is not the level, what it's going to do is it's going to topple down on you and you're going to feel really frustrated because you're not attaining that type of thing. So it's really about keeping yourself on that playing ground. And again, it's that expansion out into who you are, to get yourself lined up, to lop off as much of that lower vibration, anything that stands in the way that in the past would spin you out. You know what? Get into it, dive in, and resolve it. And so a large part of it is self-care and personal development.
Yeah.
Because you really need to, and self-actualization is part of it. It's like, we're talking about as successful people, and even anybody that even has an inkling to be an entrepreneur, I would consider them a success. But we're looking at somebody who is well into their high sixes, mid sixes, even low sixes, sevens, eights, and so on. It's just a different lifestyle. It's a different way of thinking. It's about how you honor your life. What are the things that you do? And that just all becomes systematic. So the idea of what you want to give yourself on a health level, here's a perfect example. Somebody say, I want to be healthy. Always a good goal. I choose to eat nutritiously on a path that is more organic than processed, of being sure that I give myself at least 6 hours of sleep a night, of giving myself 15 to 20 minutes off the clock to get in touch with myself. So whether that be through hypnosis or meditation or whatever it is that you'd like to do, or going out and shooting hoops. Whatever it is that helps ground you, it's about getting into those pockets and just making sure that you do them on a regular basis. So it's the consistency of all of that, and really focus of bringing those things on the fold. Other days that you miss, absolutely. It's always the case. Life happens. This is not a perfect world. So it's okay. Here's the list. Here's what I can do today. Here's the list. Here's what I can do today. I've now ticked off all 5 things on my list. I've ticked off 3. Tomorrow's a new day, clean slate. Here's the list, and getting through what it is. It is that type of approach where you're going to do what it takes on any given day to be able to step in the way that honors who you are and what you've decided to give yourself, and what that you're ready to welcome at this point in your life.
So tell us, what does it really take for people to go from that place where they're, elbow grease and they're trying to figure it out in their head and everything, and then all of a sudden, like, they're crashing, but how can people with ease, scale to that next level?
Number one is getting the support that they need, of making the acknowledgement. Is it an investment? Yes. Is it worthwhile? Definitely. That is, it is about that, so that you get into the space where you're doing the things that are going to help you and be consistent about them, and having guidance to be able to do it. Because when you're that far under, you're not thinking clearly. So you want to make the most use out of all of your resources, you know, your time, your energy, your money, all of it. And, you know, I mean, that is what it's all about, right? On a regular basis. So what are the things that are going to help keep you grounded? You know, really just going to some basic personal development, self-care type of, you know, it's not 10 hours in the gym, which is what I think most people think, you know, when they go self-care. It are even the little things that to be able to tap into you to see what helps ground you. So it could be, you know, playing with your pets, it could be playing with your kids, it could be playing the guitar, it could be shooting hoops, it could be going into meditation or hypnosis, it could, whatever it is, it's different for everybody. And that's why, you know, there is no cookie cutter kind of answer, but there are different things for everybody. And there's enough available that you can try something and say, no, that doesn't work. This is better for me. And that's the most important part of it.
For those that may not be so totally understand or right away, like the whole grounding concept, tell me more about that. I mean, what is that the number one thing you see is like, I've heard you say that many times, are people like tend to be wildly ungrounded, right? As they're trying to grow their business?
Yeah. You know, again, perfect example. I just had a conversation with one of my clients last night who is, you know, going big, you know, does retail and is now looking at, you know, getting on, you know, some of the bigger platforms, you know, QVC, the Home Shoppers was HSN, you know, things like that. And going, okay, some of the things that we had done previously in our time together has been integrated, and they're like, wow, now I really feel the power. And what's really cool is actually not just that conversation, but I've had 3 of my clients come within the last not even 24 hours into the same space. And that's, you know, a really great feeling and a wonderful compliment. And so they're saying, with this newness of feeling something different, how do I, you know, they have a learning curve, more or less. You know, it's kind of like your training wheels, right? That's training wheels. The perfect example, helps ground you on your bike, right? It keeps you until you can find your balance, you know, feel comfortable riding the bike and so forth, and then the training wheels come off. And, you know, so that's it. So what is it that helps you get in that space that makes you feel good about the newness of something, that is a quick go-to for you, that brings you into a place where you feel more harmony than disharmony? I don't use the word balance too much because I always say to clients, you know, or if you want balance, stand on one leg. But I do believe in harmony within the different aspects of yourself, your intellect, your spirituality, your social, your emotional, your physical, your energetic. All of that comes within your being to keep you whole and complete, right? And there's, you know, you're at different levels at each one. And that's how it comes and goes, right? So what are the things that you can turn to that help make you feel? And it could just be, take a quick second, and that's it. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in, exhale, and open your eyes and bring to life everything that is in front of you now. The more vibrancy of, you know, everything in your surroundings and so forth. And those type of things that very quickly bring you into a space where you're like, oh, okay, that seems like something really simple, but nobody's thinking of it. They're ranting and raving for an hour. And then it's like, you know, then we get on the phone. It's like, you know, first thing off, take a nice deep breath. Oh my God, I feel so much better. You know,
it's a session right there.
Yeah, and it's you know, and that's one of the things that, you know, and then I hate you, you know, like one of those, like, but it's like, you know, it's a very funny thing, but it's so easy. And there are lots of little things, you know, I call it a reset button. it would be considered an anchor in NLP. And it's like, if somebody finds themselves in a meeting or under the gun in some way, they automatically go to that, like, that spot. And, it's like a cheat, like a little, what do they call that when you're doing like a cheat system kind of thing. It just brings you to that state automatically. Then you can kind of like look at it afterwards. But when you have to stay in the moment, you have to stay in the moment. And if you feel like yourself like going off, as I was sharing with earlier with another client, was really having a moment. You do not want to do that in front of your crew, your team, your colleagues. Not a good time to have that happen. Yeah, exactly. So what are the things so when you say grounded, what are the things that, pull you out of that high emotion, out of that mind F, whatever it is that's going on, the closing off that you want to do, little pockets that you want to just kind of like, whatever, but keep yourself present. So I think that's one of the biggest things of grounding is to stay present, to know that. And all of the things that I do, always bring people in. You talk about this with this show. It's what? A wake-up call, right? That's what we are. You say spiritual rock star, which I've done. My show is actually Rock Your Life TV. So I get that. And I've recently used the term spiritual gladiator. And it is, we're the ones carrying the torch. And so we do the work for ourselves, and then we can light the way for other people and follow down the path, right? That is what we're doing. And it's okay. It's, people think that nothing's wrong with you if you're following the path. It's good. Get on a path. Just find someone that resonates with you and let that light come into your life. And that's what it is. And come into that space where you have more moments. It's not blah, 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 blah. You can take that second and go, okay, wow, that just really helped, instead of the whole, spinning out of control. And people that are making $1 million decisions do not have the luxury of spinning out of control. You at any level do not have the luxury of even spinning out of control on $1,000 or 5,000 or 10 or anything. You want to keep yourself in that space to make good decisions.
Yeah, get centered, get grounded. Yeah, absolutely. And so breathing and taking care of yourself, self-care, making sure you get support, whatever support is, feels good for you and resonates for you. Absolutely. Those are the foundations, right? I mean, self-care, number one, right? Absolutely. The whole idea, how can you help other people if you're not taking care of yourself, right? You can't, in terms of like the transmission is going to be different. So the transmission, deepening a more enlightened transmission, a greater transmission of your gifts and what you have to bring at a higher vibrational level by taking care of ourselves first. So right on, sister. All right.
And thanks, so fist bump. Fist bumps coming at you. And
so on that note, I wanted to just mention that we both actually I think have gifts around this help in this area, but you have a gift today that I know that help with helping people to breathe and release all the stress that comes up with doing your purpose and building businesses and all the stuff that people deal with. So could you tell people just briefly about that?
Yeah, sure. It's again, it's I think I had started mentioning it a little bit earlier, is that when we're talking about relaxing the mind and the body, this is a self-guided meditation that is just going to, start getting in that from head to toe, just allowing yourself to give yourself that 15 minutes off the clock and just doing it on on a regular basis. And the more that you do it, it's, it just becomes easier and easier. And what happens is that another part of you comes alive. The more relaxed that you are, like people say, oh, I can't think straight or whatever. And it's true, when you have all of these things clouding your way, again, everybody does it in a different way. Somebody may do it for the 30 seconds of just closing their eyes and breathing, and then that's it. And then they walk away. Other people, take whatever. You get it. you got to do it, but you have to start training yourself to get into that mode. Then you can go to the quicker, like, you're in and out of it in 30 seconds. I still give myself, 15 minutes a day to, bring myself into that space of relaxation and do that. And more comes to the surface, and more of the parts of you that bring you into that higher vibration. So it is absolutely, the area to get into. So I offer that, from the bottom of my heart, of bringing people just into that space of finding an area for themselves that they can let some of their day go. And then eventually you get to a point where you let pretty much a lot of your day go. And then most of it, the other thing, so that will be, you've got the link for that. And it's just pauladandrea.com, and with your initials, DJH. Right. And people can get access to that. The other thing that I'm a big fan of is forgiveness. And with a lot of my people who, at the end of their day and the end of my day, I do a very simple process of, forgiving and releasing, cutting the cord and pulling out that energy and letting it go. Again, it's that clean slate. It's, speaking about that earlier about, here's your list. Are you going to hit everything on your list every single day? Probably not. But here's the thing, is that you're still making that list, everybody that's, what's on task. And of course, most people will hit the most important thing at the beginning of the day. If you have a team, you can delegate some other things, but, it helps you stay, that's another way to stay grounded, is being clear, knowing what you need to do. Kind of sticking to a plan a little bit more. Do you have to be improvisational and flexible, and, anything could come up during the day? Absolutely. But, and then that list kind of goes out the window, but it's always great to have that list to begin with. That's grounding in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So very, very good stuff. And so what are, one other question, some other questions real quick. I wanted to ask you, what are some of the, you've given a number of like things around people getting into that relaxed presence and really being able to listen to their body, get their mind straight, all that sort of stuff. And so I'm wondering, like, what are some other, like maybe just three more tips, like 3 tips to how people could be even more effective in manifesting the results they want. What are 3 more tips, if you could give our listeners?
That all leads to, I'll hop on to, continue the conversation that we just had, because that brings it right into the fold. Good timing for that question is that, first of all, of making the list, getting clear on what it is that you're ready to step into. That's number 1. And getting really specific about it, detail about it, so that you're not just, you get a good grasp on it. It makes you feel like the example I gave earlier of, somebody going, yeah, I'd love to be healthy. I'd love to be healthier. That's great. Good, good directive. Right. But when I sit and I make my tick list and saying is that, I'm meditating daily. I'm taking a walk. I'm doing this. I'm eating nutritiously, reducing my sugar, like really getting into layer by layer of, how it makes me feel. Not only that, then, what it's going to look like, what's it going to sound like, and what's it going to feel like. And that's a whole different approach to then just making a goal, or just saying, oh, I want to be healthier. That's kind of like, throwing the spaghetti at the wall, or, kind of like, well, it might stick and it may not. This is a sure way of figuring out, designing an outcome, actually. And then being able to know, if this is my outcome in 6 months, where do I have to be? Here, the day before, a week before, a month before, 2 months before, 3 months. What is the step I'm taking today to step into that? That is a different approach. It is all of the clearing of what we talked about before. The lower vibration is, am I perfect? Do I want to be perfect? No, I want to be the best version of me possible. And so the more that I can unlearn the things that are not useful for me, and then it's up to me what I want to give myself and what I'm ready to welcome are my new learnings. And then it's up to me to put that into action. Am I going to F up here and there? Yeah. Am I maybe going to piss some people off here and there? Yeah. And it's not the intention. But again, I think that, a lot of people get caught up in that of offending other people, or it's going to do this, or you can think about yourself. It is that thing about putting the mask on yourself first to then serve the other people. It is about what we were talking about, the personal development first, to carry the torch and light the way for the other people. You got to step into yourself, and you got to find the ways that are effective for you. And then that's it. How I work with creatives is differently how I'm working with executives. An executive, especially a high, CEO or somebody, they want a sounding board. And then they want the sound advice, and then they want it coming back to them in a different way that has the spiritual edge that I have, that has the light work or approach that I have, the non-ego part, the non-yes part that everybody else on their team is giving them. As simple as that. So those are that's really what we're focusing on. It's not trying to make something it's such an individual thing about getting into your own vibration and that's it. So that then once you get in there, that's again the expansion of just being, and then receive. Because a lot of people that are in this position, I can tell yourself too, you're a visionary, as am I. We're people who are, we're leaders. We will take that it may sometimes get hard to take those steps. People look at people and say, oh, you're so strong. I have my things that crumble me, but I know where to go to then take care of that. I know who else then to get support from. And so for me, in order to be supportive for other strong people, I got to keep on doing that too,
Okay. So we're going to get triggered. We are going to get triggered. I think that's the thing, is people allow the triggers to shut them down too often overall. They triggered. No, this means this means that. They come to conclusions. So the process you're talking about today, breathing, get it back to center. All right, now what do you want to do? That, and then dealing with those triggers more deeply through the work you do, I would do, or whoever, to deal with the deeper stuff that's going on, that's being triggered, so that you can scale yourself to the next level.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And I want to share too, hey, I was rocking my own hot mess for, I've done it. And I've had inordinate amount of stress too, on different levels, physically, emotionally, all of that kind of stuff too. So it's not like I'm standing here, I'm walking my talk. I've done it. So the thing is that, it's like any, like you too. And it's when you have, because I've done the work, now I can carry the torch, and I can say, hey, instead of taking, another 5 years to get here, how about a few months, or, dive in for this amount of time, whatever the pocket of time is. Someone's coming in for 90 minutes, 90 days, 1 day, whatever it is, to get that peace. That's going to bring them more peace. That's what I'm on for.
Valuable, yeah. And of course, part of my function here on the show is, I usually do towards the end of the show, is the intention is for me to just spend a little time just praising you, seeing you, and seeing really, I'd love to do that. So just scanning your energy a little bit.
Wow.
Just
okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to call it in and just receive from you, Daniel.
Yes.
Bring it.
Okay, great. So what I've been noticing as I've just been watching you talking, and I'm sure you see stuff in me too, but what I see for you is you're just really an incredible light worker, ambassador for the light. And it's so clear to me. And I want people to know that out there, because I know that it's something I'm sure you talk about, you share and becomes visible. But if I were to call you into something, it's like I'd say, like, without even looking at all your marketing, like my thing is always for all of us, like, claim your visibility as a healer and a light worker as well, right? So I think, like, there's that part that's afraid, like, what are the more corporate people gonna think, though, if they see too much of that? So, like, that's something I'm just sensing here. May not be true. You can tell me later, but, like, this feeling I get is, like, step into that even more. The more we show all of ourselves and we're being all of ourselves, the more we're going to activate it in other people that feel like they're not that. Like, they're light workers too. They don't even know it yet, right? So you can transmit that to people. I see this powerful energy coming through your third eye, for example, that you activate people spiritually through your third eye. You doing it maybe consciously sometimes, possibly, but I feel like it's maybe more unconscious, but it's like, it's just like a pulse. And just people are like, whoa, I just felt that. Like, whatever, just energy is just pulsing through your third eye. It
Yes.
awakens people, and they feel like they can find their own truth, their own voice to share with you. Then it feels like, oh wow, it's safe. I can just be all of myself now, and I can do it with Paula, and then if I do it with Paula, maybe I can do it with the world, right? So, like, I noticed that about you, and your kind heart, and you get it in there, and you got that steel and that kind of boxing energy I see in you. So I actually have some past with that. Right? Bam, bam. So I noticed that in you, and so yeah, I think that's good. So you could mix it up good with people that are those tough, hard-nosed people as well. You'll be like, okay, whatever. All right. Like, I can see you like dancing with people, right? So I really see that for you. And then just that, you really are fierce and loyal to people. Like, you're like, we've got this. Like, I see that in your power center, sacral chakra, and that you're just taking a stand for people. You're like, it's almost really like almost protective, really. It's like, I'm holding you. We've got you. Me and the light beings or whatever, like the light, we've got you. And that you really ground people, which is something you talked about, right? So they just go through real quickly and give a few things. Like, I noticed those things for you, and so it's just grateful to see you, and grateful for the work that you're doing. And so, anything you want to share with what I was picking up with? I think the more we are seeing more deeply in each other, the more, again, people can see themselves as they're hearing me just even say that about you, right? So they can see it for themselves in themselves as well. So.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much. That was beautiful. And I really, really appreciate that. What a wonderful blessing to receive that. And I think that yes, many of the things that you shared, Daniel, were spot on. And it is through my own delving into myself. I hate to say work, how a lot of people say it, but my curiosity and my willingness to take a deeper look at myself, and get out of that, more of that hot mess, so that my heart opens up more, so that people feel, because that third eye thing that you're talking about, it has sent people through walls in the past. That was kind of the bane of me when I was growing up, and I did resist a lot of all of that. I had my own F you attitude and things that I was dealing with, and just didn't want any part of that. And it was when I started to get out of the and so I like to use this example as resistance, right? And we keep on butting heads with that, and then all of a sudden I butted heads, and I decided to embrace it and bring it in. That's what now, when that comes out of the third eye, is that people are feeling more and going, I really want to step into that safe container, and have someone see me, and specifically for me, have Paula see me and support me and ground me and bring all of that light in. So thank you for getting it so well, and sharing that. I really, really appreciate it. And just it was beautiful to receive that. It was unexpected and greatly received.
Oh, I'm grateful to share it with you. And so if people want to check you out, go to pauladandrea.com. And if you want to get that gift, stress-free living, hey, I meditate a good 20, 40 minutes or up to an hour a day or even more sometimes. You want it, it's a foundational thing. Go get the meditation, pauladandrea.com/DJH, capital letters is what how I have it here. So check that out. And then if people want to check me out, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com. I've got a meditation as well, meditate, make money. Hey, so it's a good thing to do. And also if you want an energy scan, like you saw me doing here today, if you want to check into that, you can apply for the opportunity for that. So anyway, Paula, I'm just, man, I'm just so grateful. I love the energy that's created through a forum like this, and let's rock on, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what we're here to do, and I really do feel a kindred spirit with you, and very grateful to have been asked and be part of the initial unfolding of Daniel's spiritual rock star. I'm so happy and grateful to share all of this with you. And all of it, the biggest thing is getting into yourself. Like you mentioned that with your meditation is, and everybody thinks manifest and they automatically think money. Manifest yourself, and when you manifest yourself and really step into yourself and be contributing to that, and not just that, love yourself at that level, that's where the manifesting cycle of the prosperity and monetary financial starts to open up, is that people feel something different from you and you shift your own vibration. So I love that you do that, and that you're able to do all the meditation you do on your own. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful.
Thank you. All right. So anyway, thank you again for coming on the show today. Everybody check out pauladandrea.com, pauladandrea.com/DJH, and take advantage of everything she has to offer. She's amazing. And thank you again for being a guest today, Paula.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Daniel. It was good to be here.
Thanks. Okay, goodbye, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.
Wow, what a pleasure to have you join us today. Thank you so much for listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.